This glass holds a whole bottle of wine, but in an effort to control myself, I only have about 2 glasses worth in here. Ting. Hey y'all, I'm Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm doing a ContemporaryAthon days 2 and 3 catch up. I planned on daily vlogging, but I had some family stuff that was going down, so I wasn't able to really do that the last couple of days. But I didn't want to just not post anything. I really do want to talk about the books that I've been reading. So here we are. On Monday, I did actually do a daily vlog. I read Love, Hate, and Other Filters. On Tuesday, I read Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. This book was really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. If Goodreads wasn't absolute shit and had 5 stars, I would have probably given it a 4.5 because I did enjoy it that much. It is about a girl named Billy who is growing up in rural Kentucky. Her father is a preacher and she has they call it the hexagon, her and her group of friends. But as she kind of is getting into her senior year of high school, she starts to question not just her sexuality but her sexual identity as well, and this book kind of follows her through that journey of trying to figure it out and what it means not just to her personally but what it means for the relationships between her and her friends and her parents. The thing that I loved most about this book, other than how nicely it seemed to treat like gender and sexuality fluidity and how it can change. It's not a stationary thing, not for everyone. But it also, the writing style, I cannot get enough of. I know that Courtney Stevens has a couple of other books. I'll probably pick those up at some point in the future just because I love the writing style. If she writes all of her books the way that she wrote this book, I'm here for it. This book completes the challenge of reading a book that is recommended to you. Chelsea has talked about it several times, and I know that Natasha has mentioned it a lot as well, and for good reason. So good. The book that I read for today was The Best We Could Do by Thai Bui. This is a graphic memoir. This story follows her parents as they live in Vietnam throughout the Vietnam War, well, leading up to, during, and after the Vietnam War, and their process of trying to go over to the United States and set up their lives here, and sort of the effect and repercussion that being there while everything was going on and like how that affected their relationship with each other, with their children. And this book, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to talk about. It was really good. I also give this a 4 out of 5 stars as well. The art style is really interesting and I really enjoyed it. It is all kind of in this like black and grayscale with this sort of like burnt red, orangey red color throughout. Those are the only colors used in the whole graphic novel, which was very fitting. I think it kind of matches the tone of the story as it's being told. The author actually did a interactive reading in public that is on YouTube. I'll leave that link down below so that you can check it out. If this sounds at all vaguely interesting to you, I highly recommend picking it up, whether it be like through Amazon or your local library, or I don't even know, is it on Overdrive? I didn't look. Probably should have looked. But it was really, really good, and it's one of those stories that you read, and especially because it's a memoir, it's not a realistic fiction, it's like a real thing these people actually lived through, and thousands of people just like them lived through so similar situations. It was really interesting. It's one of those things that kind of not only brings attention to other perspectives than my own, but to the very real idea that, not idea, like it's a very real thing that happens where stories are told differently depending on whether you won or lost. And which is not like, that's a pretty complicated instance on its own, especially in reference to the Vietnam War, because like, did anybody really lose or win? You know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like a crap deal all around. you know, my husband and I were talking one day about the American Revolution. Like, what do they call the American Revolution in England? They don't really call it anything because to them it wasn't a big deal. So, but it's just, it's a really interesting thing to think about, I think, like to take an event in history and to look at the different perspectives of it. Like growing up in America, you mostly hear just like the Americanized version of what went down. So it's really, I feel like I keep saying interesting, but like it's so interesting, and it was interesting to read, you know, that story from not just the perspective of someone that's not from here, but someone that actually like lived it, you know? It's kind of along the same vein as Love, Hate, and Other Filters, which I read on Monday. It follows an Indian American Muslim girl in high school. Her name is Maya, and she is throughout the book dealing not just with racism, but specifically in relation to a terrorist event. And that kind of really got me thinking about what that must have been like for people of not just like Indian heritage, but like Middle Eastern ethnicity in all fashion. And also because I know a lot of Americans are ignorant idiots. You know, like if your skin was not white, you were probably persecuted in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how some people, I'm starting to get emotional. I don't understand how some people can just be so terrible to other people. I don't understand what's so hard about the concept of just being nice to everyone. I don't understand why it matters what color your skin is. I don't understand why it matters what religion you are. Like, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. What matters is that you have to share like this planet, this country, this state, this city, this neighborhood with people that are going to be different from you. And so I don't understand what the point of being so mean and hateful is. So, anyway, I've been reading, like two out of 3 books that I've read. Actually, all 3 of them deal with racism in some way, shape, or form. All the books that I've read this week. I hope that at least half of what I said in this makes sense. I don't talk about it a lot because it is a really sensitive subject, and I don't want to accidentally say the wrong thing. I'm very ignorant, but not in like the mean and terrible way, but just like the actual definition of like, I just don't know, because I do live in an area that is largely Caucasian. I did go to a private school with a majority of white people, like, so there are a lot of things that I don't know, which makes me hesitant to talk about it, because especially when you're on the internet, it's so easy for someone to, like, for me to misspeak or for someone else to misunderstand what I'm saying. And so a lot of the times I avoid the topic, but it doesn't mean that it's not something that I think about, and it doesn't mean that it's not important to me. And I don't know why, but I felt like that was important to say. Eventually I'll stop crying, maybe tomorrow. Hopefully I don't look a hot mess now. So this is how I'm spending my Valentine's Day. How are you guys? How's your Valentine's Day? How's it going? Good? Is it good? I hope it's good. My husband works in the restaurant industry, so I'm no stranger. Also, controversial opinion, I don't actually give a shit about Valentine's Day. It, to me, feels like a made-up reason to, like, I'm one of those people that's like, corporations are just trying to get you to spend your money on cardboard and chocolate. Like, I don't need any of those things. Like, you shouldn't need a day to want to tell people in your life that you love them, or to want to do nice things for them. You know what I mean? Like, women need to get their heads out of their butts. Not just women, just like people in general that are like weird about Valentine's Day and like, oh, such and such didn't buy me anything for Valentine's Day, it must mean they don't love me. No, it means they're not putting up with the bullshit, and neither should you. Get your shit together. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye, y'all.